The market opens in 4 minutes. You've been at this desk since 5:47 a.m. 3 monitors, 1 cold coffee, a stack of pitch decks nobody will ever open. You're 23. You owe $94,000. The salary felt enormous until you saw what your managing director billed in a single afternoon. So you run the numbers. You build the models. You don't complain. You teach yourself to read a 10K in 40 minutes. That's survival at this level. Then, one morning, you find it. A figure, wrong, buried in your senior associate's model. A mistake worth $2 million. You stare at it. You fix it quietly, in your own copy, and you tell no one. Because the system here doesn't reward honesty. It rewards discretion. Your days run 14 hours, sometimes 18. You stop counting in the first month. You don't have power yet, but you found where it lives. You push a $430 million deal through a spreadsheet on the 31st floor. You never meet the client. You never see the boardroom, but your numbers are in that room. The floor empties out. It's late. You look out at the city, and for the first time, the salary isn't what you're thinking about. 2 years on, you're in the room. Not the main room, the side room where associates wait. But you're in it. You're structuring now. Small pieces, real ones. You draft terms on $180 million mezzanine financing. You sit across from a CFO for the first time and walk him through a covenant breach without blinking, because you've run that scenario 40 times this week. Preparation is your currency now. The deal is a leveraged buyout of a regional logistics company. It will mean job cuts. You don't model the human cost. Nobody asked you to. You model margins and debt coverage, present it clean, and collect your bonus. You don't think about Ohio. You just ran the numbers. The second rule: proximity to capital is proximity to power. And proximity to power means proximity to decisions you'd rather not have signed. You start building a network. A VP who pulls you onto deals. An associate who feeds you information. You protect each other, not out of friendship, out of usefulness. The first machine inside the machine. Now you manage people, their output, their mistakes, their hours. 4 analysts, 2 associates. You stop tracking your own time. You think in deal flow. You close your first transaction alone, a $620 million acquisition financing, European infrastructure, a Southeast Asian buyer. Your managing director's name is on the cover. Yours is on page 6. But in the room, the client looks at you when the numbers get hard. You're not support anymore. You're the deal maker, and you see the architecture underneath now. The target's pension obligations, restructured after close. The fund needs a 22% return, and the restructuring is what makes that number work. You know what it means for the retirees. You don't say it. Nobody does. The deal closes in 11 weeks. Your year-end number is $480,000. You wire $40,000 to your parents and buy a 2-bedroom, in a city where a 2nd bedroom signals you've arrived. You tell yourself the pension was already insolvent. You might even be right. The third rule: you stop asking whether the deal is good. You ask whether it's executable. That's the only question left. Now you originate. Clients call you directly, not your managing director, you. Private equity shops route their flow through your desk. 3 closings in 4 years, not 1 missed deadline, not 1 leak. That's worth more than being the smartest person in the room. You run a $1.2 billion book of mandates. You sit on the pitch as the senior banker. Your associate runs the model, your VP handles diligence, and you sell the confidence. That's the product. You finally understand leverage in its purest form, not financial, informational. You know which companies are about to launch a strategic review before it's public. You know which sovereign fund is quietly building a position. You don't trade on it, but you know, and the knowing makes you sharper. Then you lose one. Not on the numbers, on a relationship you didn't have. A rival belonged to the same private club as the chairman. That's how a $2.8 billion mandate slips away. A club membership. You don't flinch. You join 2 clubs inside the month. At this level, the deal is never only about the numbers. The calls come earlier now, before the market opens, sometimes from numbers with no name. You hold 12 client relationships, each worth 30 to 40 million a year in fees. You're not working for the bank anymore. You are the bank's relationship with these people. A quiet distinction and a seismic one. You sit on a credit committee. 900 million in revolving credit, a balance sheet visibly deteriorating. You vote yes, not because the credit is clean, but because losing the relationship would cost 3 times the exposure. A political decision in a financial one's clothes. At this level, they all are. You travel without stopping. Singapore, Zurich, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. You have dinner with ministers, not politicians, ministers. The relationship is the business. Capital doesn't follow returns alone. It follows trust between the right people. There are 14 partners in the division. You're one of them. Your name is on the door, not literally, but in every way that counts. You carry interest in the fund now. You have skin in every deal the firm runs. When the fund wins, you win. When it doesn't, neither do you. You stop optimizing for the bonus and start optimizing for the 5-year cycle. You stop thinking in quarters and start thinking in decades. You lead a $4.3 billion acquisition of a European energy company. 3 months of negotiation, 4 jurisdictions, 2 competing bids. You run the consortium, your fund, a Gulf sovereign co-investor, a Canadian pension. The closing dinner is in London. The handshake happens in a room that isn't on any floor plan. You route the holding through a Luxembourg company into a Cayman feeder fund. Entirely legal. 2 law firms blessed every angle. The deal adds 180 basis points to the fund's return. Your carried interest on this one transaction will compound past $40 million. 2 calls land today. One from a Gulf sovereign fund, $7 billion looking for a home, and you're one of 3 firms considered. The second is from a finance ministry, not a banker. The minister. You take both from the same room. 44th floor, corner office. No screens, no terminal, just glass and silence. You're not in the market anymore. The market is in you. You sit on 3 corporate boards. You don't lobby, you advise. The distinction is real. The influence is identical. The 7th rule. There's no outside perspective left. You are the perspective. Eventually, there's no title at all. Just a name with nothing under it. Senior advisor, chairman emeritus, a family office. All technically accurate, none of it the truth. Stakes in 5 funds, 2 private banks, 1 reinsurance vehicle in Bermuda. You're 71, 47 years inside the machine. 3 central bank governors know you by your first name. Not because you set policy, but because the information runs both ways. Total assets under management north of $90 billion. The exact figure is known to 4 people. You're one of them. You don't trade, you position. 2 years before anyone else, you see a currency block heading for liquidity stress, and you structure for it, not to trigger it, just to be on the right side when it arrives. When it does, your funds gain. The press calls it prescient risk management. The cost is the part no one warns you about. The people you trust number fewer than 10. You have more access than anyone in your life can comprehend, and almost no one to tell. You're too embedded to remove. The system would cost more to dismantle than to keep. That isn't power. It's something quieter, colder, and more permanent. A boardroom in Geneva. 4 people. No agenda, no slides. You speak for about 6 minutes. The room takes in every word. Then you stop, and the room moves. Somewhere, in a glass tower in a city that never sleeps, a 23-year-old opens a terminal for the first time. His badge says analyst, first year. It always has. It always will. He thinks this is about the salary. He thinks the system rewards what you put in. He doesn't know yet what it actually rewards, but he will find out. The terminal blinks, the market opens, and the machine takes one more step forward.